grips of the police. The chaotic scenes witnessed at the University of Ghana yesterday following clashes between students of Commonwealth and students from the University of Ghana, University Hall. Let's go now to the University campus, University of Ghana, where my colleague Ridwan Karim Dini Osman is standing by the Mensa Sabah Hall. Ridwan, good morning.
Good morning, King Kav.
Tell me exactly what the mood is at the University of Ghana a day after the clashes that took place yesterday.
Well, King Kav, I must say that the atmosphere here is very serene. Calm indeed has returned to the campus, and I can see a number of students who are already going about the activities. But I must say that I am coming to you live from the Mensa Sabah Hall. I'm standing right in front of the hall, and that is where we're going to have the hard talk conversation. Yesterday's occurrence has exposed a very big problem, which is student hooliganism. But King Kav, just if you could tell the sound guys, I could hear feedback in my ears. So if they could address that for me. So that's the conversation we'll be having right here at the Mensa Sabah Hall regarding student hooliganism. And already I have with me some students from Mensa Sabah Hall. I have a student from the Commonwealth Hall. And then also I have a student journalist from Radio Universe, because we know that when some of these issues break, they are the ones that report them. And so this is Emmanuel J. Ampim, and also Anthony Beidou is a member of Commonwealth, and of course Pius Beidou is also from Mensa Sabah Hall. Then Jude is also a student journalist right here at the University of Ghana campus, precisely Radio Universe. First and foremost, I would want to find out from you. You are with Commonwealth Hall, Mensa Sabah Hall, I beg your pardon. We had a lot of conflicting reports yesterday regarding what exactly happened. Tell us what really happened. You were here. You saw what happened. What happened?
Yesterday, what actually happened was Katanga, our affiliates from KNUST, came over to have their intellectual debate at the Commonwealth Hall. So when they were going for the debate, some of our guys joined them, and it seems that there was trouble already. But what actually sparked was the vandals. It was alleged that the vandals took one of the Katanga guys, beat him up, brought him back. So the news broke out, and then the Katanga boys also retaliated in collaboration with the Mensa Sabah Hall, front, that is the Okpo boys. They took in one vandal, beat him up, shaved him up, and then he was held hostage here for some time. So the vandals came down from the hill into Mensa Sabah Hall to come and rescue their guy, and a whole fracas broke up. So basically, that was what happened.
Okay, let me go to the guy from the Commonwealth Hall. Tell us what happened. He's giving us a different narration, but what can you tell from your angle?
Okay, for me, I would say that, as he rightly said, there was a clash between Commonwealth Hall and Mensa Sabah Hall. But as it stands now, we don't have enough information to know who started the fight and what happened. All what we know is there's a video outside there on social media trending that Mensa Sabah Hall took one of Commonwealth Hall, a vandal, and what they did was not fine. There was violence, so many violence. They captured him on social media. They also shaved him, and so many violence and human rights abuse that happened. We as vandals are demanding for justice, and we don't want to. We are not ready to see what happened or who caused the fight. All what we want to know is the way forward. As the media houses, we want you to come on board and let's sit down and talk about the way forward, because all these issues, they will come, media houses will come, and other stakeholders.
But we know that there has always been that sort of a long-standing rival between the vandals and the Katanga boys, and so it's not like one side attacking the other all the time.
Yes, it has always been a long time rival. But you see, when the management of the various school authorities are becoming silent on these issues, it's rather provoking other individuals from the hall to retaliate, and that is not the way forward. So we are demanding justice, and we want a report from the whole management and the school authorities about the event that happened yesterday, and we want it in a very cordial environment. So as at now, they are ready to hold a press conference that will also inviting all media houses on board and to petition.
We'll talk about the press conference in a bit, but let me come back to you, Anthony. We understand that yesterday, Pius, I beg your pardon, we understand that yesterday, after the chaos, it didn't end there. Even after the police have made arrests, at dawn there was another attack. Tell us more about that.
Yes, there was. You know, when a fracas like this break out between the vandals and the Okpo boys from Messasabaho, what happens is that there's also an aftermath in the during the late night. So we were there, and they came. They came to break our annexes and some of our glasses, and you know, a whole lot of violent issues. But we didn't retaliate. We were there, and we were just looking at them. But during the morning, we could see police patrolling here and there, and then I think peace has been restored. But let me state for a fact that the violence wasn't started by Messasabaho. It was actually we retaliated because, like I said, we are affiliated to Katanga Hall, and then...
Are you sure you're not saying that because we don't have a Katanga rep here?
No, I'm not saying that because of that such a thing, but I'm just speaking the truth and being objective. Everybody knows that we are just calm, we are just at our one side. What we do is we retaliate, we don't actually start a fight. That's the difference between we and other people. When you bring your fight, we try to, you know, stage a resistance. We don't go out there to actually start, a fracas or anything of that sort. So that's the difference. So let's just get it right.
All right. So let me come to Jude. I mean, you are a student journalist. I mean, you see these occurrences often, and so one is tempted to believe that they are normal for you. But what is this about? Students tend to glorify notoriety and the sort of vandalism that we see, because I have been a student before, and whenever you have the vandals and the Katanga boys meet and they are misbehaving, you have students cheering them.
Yeah, so let me start by saying it's fascinating how my two guests and friends have some sort of a different opinion to what actually mattered. But you see what happened. But the truth is that it's unfortunate. It's something that should be condemned by all fronts, and it's something that should not be happening in 2018 as we speak. But for me, I think a lot more work needed to be done, and it's more like a group think sort of thing, right? So when he is in your lecture hall, or you go to lectures with him, or you're in the same church with him, he's a friend, right? But when it's at the hall level and he's with this whole affiliation, then he's an enemy. And sometimes I struggle really as a student journalist to find the sense in this. I've done a lot of writings about students fighting here and there, and it's funny because I see them on campus. So during Sunday service, they are jumping together, happy together, I mean, doing a lot of things together. But when there's that sort of hall division comes in, then it becomes something else altogether. I mean, I witnessed another one I covered myself during the matriculation ceremony 2 years ago. And I mean, if you look at some of the reasons why these people would want to fight and hurt each other, they are so petty. You get it? So usually sometimes because of maybe, let's say, SRC political affiliations, route to use during matriscot. The matriscot is when residents of the hall escort new members during congregation and matriculation and stuff like that. You get it? So honestly, it's saddening. You get it? But I think
but a lot of people have also talked about the sort of security we have on our campuses. Exactly. Because if we have security arrangement in place, how do these students take the law into their own hands? Yes. Is it that the security, for instance, here in the University of Ghana, is not working?
Yeah, I was coming to that, and I feel strongly that management has a very important role to play. Now, let me give you this scenario. 2 years ago, it was very chaotic here during the matriculation ceremony. A year later, the new dean came into office. That's Professor Francis Nous, and they instituted some measures, right? They got the police on campus before, during, and even after the matriculation ceremony. And everybody who was around could attest to the fact that the situation was much, much better. I get it. I feel strongly that management needs to resource the current security personnel we have here in this country. Now, looking at them, I mean, sometimes sometimes it's funny because they are so pale looking, so weak. You get it. Some of them in tattered uniforms and stuff like that. Over the past few semesters, so let me say a semester or two ago, it's been much better, their conditions, but I still feel they are not in the position to even protect themselves, let alone students. And you see them running around themselves when some of these things happen. I think the way forward is we should get more stable police patrol on campus to curb some of these future happenings.
Especially when you have student events ongoing. Let me come to you, Emmanuel. You are a student. When you see some of these things happen, how do you feel? Do you feel safe?
The fact that normally you hear both sides making argument, even not in class, because they are friends in class, they are friends in the church, as Duncan said. But when it comes to the issue of vandalism and between Mensa Sabah Hall and vandals, it's a different ball game altogether, because there is a history behind all these things that each one of them would like to sustain the history behind it. So they tend to prove the fact that, okay, we are the vandals, so we would have to. So the security that leaves the other halls, most of the times you do find out that they do not come into the territories of the other halls. Like those at diaspora, for instance, you wouldn't see the vandals fight to that extent. But it is when they are going on their possessions or demonstrations, that is how they also get to the other halls. So for the security for the other students, it is different. But for the security for the students in both halls is very scary. Because looking at the security nature of this school, for instance, is very bad. Because yesterday I was told that when the incident was actually going on, the security people were taking pictures of it instead of trying to separate them. And I felt that, okay, then if you are the security personnel at this place and that is what you are actually doing, it is not right, because it is your job to try and separate both sides. But if you stand elsewhere and try to take pictures, it's very bad.
Okay, let me come to Pius and look at the sort of pedestal on which some of these halls noted for notoriety are put on. For instance, Katanga, for instance, Commonwealth. I'm sure when you come to the University of Ghana, it is the biggest thing on campus. I mean, when you mention Commonwealth Hall, is big. And a lot of the time, you might have brilliant students in there, but they are noted, or they have that clout because of being notorious. Why is that the case?
The little bit of feed I've picked up is vandalism, or being a student in Commonwealth, or it's like I don't know how to classify it, but it's like a clan. When you come there, there's this kind of culture that goes on there. So students actually try to involve themselves. Sometimes I feel it's through, because of peer pressure, maybe they don't really understand what it entails, but because some of their friends are into it, they're charging here and there, they also join in, and it makes them feel like, oh yeah, I've come to college and this is what is happening. And
I even understand that a lot of people get admission and everybody wants to go to Commonwealth Hall.
Yes.
And it's because of the notoriety.
Oh, not. I don't think it's because of that, but I want to speak objectively. The vandals are known, in as much as sometimes they are rowdy and everything. I think they are known to be brilliant. Yes, and because of that, people, and there's some sort of prestige being there on campus. So because of that, people want to actually go there. And when it comes to they have one of the very strong alumni base in Ghana. I mean, you have lecturers. Personally, I have one of my geography lecturers being a vandal, and there are other people in high authority, people sitting at places and wielding great influence in Ghana being vandal. So I think that is also one of the reasons why students want to actually get into Commonwealth or when they come to University of Ghana, not because of how rowdy they are.
Okay. Yeah. So just in case you just tune in, this is the Hard Talk conversation coming to you live from the University of Ghana, precisely the Mensa Saba Hall. We are discussing student hooliganism. I'm sure you are all privy to what happened yesterday, the clash between the Vandals and the Katanga boys, and that has exposed a very big problem at the student front, and that is what we are discussing on our Hard Talk conversation this morning. Let me come to you, Jude. Yesterday we realized that a lot of them were wielding machetes and other weapons. Is it that when students come in, especially when there are such important events, no searches are conducted, and so people can just walk in, for instance, with guns and cutlasses and all of that, without any recourse to the safety of students?
Well, I don't want to believe students brought some of these things in. You get it. Some of these halls have what they call affiliates, and these are people who a lot of the time are not even part of the hall, are not residents, are not students in the hall. Some may be old students, you get it, and they just share in the visions and the ideals of the hall with regards to the culture that pertains to the hall. So when you come to Mensa Saba, they have the Okpo fraternity, right? And in Commonwealth, they have the Vandals kind of thing. And people outside come to join them during their sporting events, during their hall week events.
So where do they get the weapons? Where do they get them from?
I want to believe people bring it from outside. You get it? I don't want to believe that students, when coming to school, want to hide a cutlass.
So security is lax to the extent that people can actually come in and supply students with machetes?
Well, security, it's nothing to write home about. If you ask me, here on the University of Ghana campus, you have the porter system where every visitor entering the hall is supposed to be checked and your details taken before. But over the years, that sort of system where the checks takes place has lost its essence, if you ask me, and a lot more people enter the halls without being checked. A lot more people even sleep in the halls, you get it, without even management knowing about it and stuff like that. So security over the past few years has gone down, has dwindled, if you ask me, and has given rise to a lot more students coming in to misbehave here and there. A typical example is the unfortunate stabbing incidents that happened in Commonwealth Hall, I think last year, where someone who was later found out that he wasn't even a resident of the hall was able to stab a former student, you get it. So clearly security has been a serious issue, if you ask me, in this campus, and it started not a recent issue, and I think management is struggling very hard to find lasting solutions to it. But nonetheless, there's been significant improvement, because quite recently we saw that some of the security personnel have been resourced. Some halls like the International Student Hostel and even the other 4 halls at Southern Campus, right, have taken security quite seriously. So it's a gradual step. I think a lot more needed to be done.
Okay. Let me come to you, Emmanuel. Let's talk about student politics. The SRC, for instance, or people who are seeking to be SRC presidents and hold other positions, and how sometimes they are able to fund these halls or these groups to actually cause vandalism on campus. How widespread? You work at the student front. How widespread is this phenomenon?
If you say the SRC aspirant fund these student vandalism, I bet to differ that I have actually not experienced any SRC aspirant fund these activities. But normally what happens is the aspirant would like to associate him or herself to a certain hall of affiliation. Let's say if you are an SRC aspirant and you believe that, okay, if I do affiliate myself with a Commonwealth Hall, I'll be able to pull more vote from there because the boys will support me everywhere that I go. They will go into rooms to do campaigns for me.
But it means that if at the end of the election you walk wounded, or that is if you lose the election, then you have, these hall members go on rampage, and so by this you have more or less funded them, resourced them to actually embark on violent activities if you lose the election.
Yes, it normally happens that it also do not happen when you lose the election. You have the boys rallying at your back that, okay, we do not accept the fact or the result of the election. But normally what happens is they go and see them in secret. Please support my campaign, do this, pay them, give them whatever that they need, go and see the chiefs, because we have chiefs in the Commonwealth Hall. We have chief here in Mensa Sabah. So this is what they do. They will go and see the chiefs for the chief to rally their support at their back, get their students to support them. So normally that is what the aspirants do. But to pay them to rally at the back in such violent situations, I have not seen some before on campus.
Anthony, I'll come to you shortly. We don't have much time, so we'll be wrapping up in a tad. Let me come to Pius. A lot of people have made suggestions. Apart from the security concerns that Jude talked about, people are also saying that in order to avert or deal with these issues once and for all, there should be a change in name. For instance, the name Commonwealth should be dropped. It should be giving something else. Katanga should be scrapped. It should be giving something else. Is that the way forward?
No, I don't think it's the way forward. I actually think that the way forward is for us to sit down and then, talk about this, you have a sort of reconciliation. Because, I mean, just like Anthony said, these kind of attacks and fracasses, I mean, it makes the campus very, very unsafe. University of Ghana was established to groom, young students or young chaps like us to become, great leaders. We don't actually need to have these kind of sort of fights here and there. We just have to sit down, talk about the issue. And a change in name wouldn't stop, one person from attacking.
Right.
We just have to sit down and then have a consensus.
All right. Jude, briefly, what's the way forward?
Yeah, it's been argued that, or people have the opinion that, well, if you change, for instance, Commonwealth Hall from a single-sex hall to a mixed hall, perhaps it could change the way they respond to some of these issues when they happen on campus. But I see what I think should be done is that security should be improved on campus, and secondly, all student associations, especially the vandals, should reorient members on what it means to be a vandal, and so we could push forward in a very cordial environment with one.
Emmanuel, the way forward?
The way forward is for us to increase security. It is very sad that even at 1 a.m., when you get to most of the halls, you go and find the security men sleeping. And if someone would like to murder you, the person can just do it like in a very quick moment without anyone knowing. So I believe that the school management should actually look at the security issues here on campus and find a stable solution to this.
All right. Yeah. Anthony, what's the way forward?
Yes, rightly said. Security is also one of the major aspects you have to tackle at this level. We have to get the whole authority together and reorient the members of various halls about the ideologies and not about the clashes. Clashes won't be the way forward.
So this has been our Heart Talk conversation live from the University of Ghana campus, precisely the Mensa Sabah Hall, and the discussion was actually about student hooliganism. You've heard from these students, and they think that security in various campuses needs to improve because they believe that is the only panacea to the sort of vandalism and hooliganism that we have seen on campuses over the years. Back to you, Kafi.
Thank you very much, Ridwan Karim Dini Osman from the campus of the University of Ghana. And as vandals, listening to the gentleman speaking there with rapt attention, and from the other people who are speaking about what we do or don't do over there. But what we need is peace and safety. It was sung by Bob Marley, and everybody needs it. So, hey, let's see how things go. Police presence still on the campus, but hopefully things will simmer down. Let's stop the fussing and fighting. Let's just have some peace and some one love. It's now time for the traffic check. Let's see what's happening all around Accra, and we'll pop it to Tema as well. Traffic check. Okay, so from the University of Ghana campus, we're taking you straight to the Tema Harbour area. This is the traffic situation in that part of the country. Yep, it's fairly cool. I mean, yeah, this is not like Tetekwashi. So Tema is good. Shout out to everybody in Tema, Committee 1, Site 2, all those areas, Meridian. Yep, this is your traffic situation. Okay, from Tema, we are going to Tetekwashi, last stop. Yeah, a lot of traffic there. A lot of traffic there, but it's normal. This is how it happens. So if you come from Jolu or airport or from Medina, you are going to Accra, Tema, this is what you're going to meet around this time. Okay, so from TQ, we are still in the trotro really. So what's our next stop? Next stop, airport, airport. This is the airport bypass situation. It's cool. It's manageable. It's not as free as the Birmingham area, but yeah, I'll take that anytime. I'll take that over to the question anytime at all. Okay, so from the airport bypass area, we are going to Birmingham. Yeah, it's clear. It's like a freeway. Lewis Hamilton will love this one, you know, zooming in his F1 car. It's nice and clear. Okay, and finally, we will end up at the Ring Road, where it's all choked going to Osu, choked going to Circle, Silver Cup, Paloma, all those areas. That's your traffic check this morning, 17th of April, 2018. Okay, it's 28 minutes to 9 o'clock. It's now time for the VOTD, video of the day. Here it comes. Enjoy. And we come back with a one-on-one live session right here on GH1 TV. Don't miss it.
Audio Jungle.